Hi, guys, and welcome to the Improving Always podcast. This week, we are going to talk about the path to pro. So, everything that you should know on your way to, playing soccer at the highest level you can possibly play at. And that really is where I want to start this topic, because I see so many athletes with the idea that, all I have to do is sign my first professional contract, or all I need to do is, get to that level and then I'm set. And I think that's the wrong goal to have. I think that having the goal of going pro is not the way you want to go. I think that your goal, if you're serious about soccer or really any sport, should be to play at the highest level that you can possibly play at, not necessarily to go pro. Because I think that, one, it takes a lot of the pressure off, and then also, it's just, you're not going to make millions and millions of dollars unless you're way, way at the top. And I just think that rather than saying that you want to make money off this, I think that if you're really in this for the love of the sport, and you're just a competitive person, it's more about playing soccer at a high level and enjoying it. I think that's the thing that you should be focused on rather than going pro.
I can also add into something like that. I did like a TikTok post about it like 2 days ago, which is like 45% of players make like less than $1,000 USD at the pro level. And I don't get where like people that want to go pro come with the idea that going pro in any sport is the best way to make money. Like, I don't know where that stems from, because the only ones that are making the huge bucks are like the 0.111%.
Yeah, well, everyone thinks they're exceptional, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks
it
like
stems from Noblet. We all see him and we're like, damn, I really wish I could be
That's
like
true.
that. Look at the
That's a good
lifestyle
point.
he's living.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I mean, it comes from most people's exposure to professional sports is what they see on TV. And let's face it, with most sports, what we see on TV is exclusively the top leagues and the players that really are making $1 million contracts. You don't get to watch, and this is especially true in American sports, you don't get to watch lower division professionals. You only watch, the NFL and NBA don't have lower division in America. Like, it's NBA and NFL, and then you go off to these rinky-dink like arena leagues and stuff like that, and those aren't connected to those leagues, so it's not even like European football.
Yeah, and without promotion relegation, it's hard to see like kind of the path. Like if you are playing in, even the was it USSL is the second division in the States?
USL Pro and USL Championship or something like that.
So like,
Or
even
League
if you're
One,
playing in those divisions, there's not like a clear path rather than just switching teams, right? Because, or I know like the MLS has plans to add even more teams, but you either have to be on one of those teams that's added or sign to another team. You can't just like get promoted, which it's not like getting promoted in England or Italy or Spain is easy, but it's kind of, it's there, it's something that could happen. And yeah, I think like especially in the States, they're without that clear path to the first division, even in soccer, it's tough. But going back to what I said before, like, I think everyone thinks they're exceptional. Everyone thinks they're the 1% that's going to make it, and that's natural. It's good to believe in
a little
yourself.
Too high.
Yeah,
it's more
0.1%.
Like yeah.
But 0.01%, right? Because 1%'s 1 in 100, probably 1 in.
I think it's the top 1% of 1% that even make it to the pro playing peanuts.
Yeah.
It's the top 1% of the top 1% of the top 1% that make it to the Premier League or La Liga.
That's a lot of math.
Yeah. Noblet's a smart guy.
And we got 4 of them right here, huh? So what are the odds? Damn.
Yeah. Still not good. But yeah, everyone thinks they're gonna, win the lottery or whatever. But at the end of the day, I really do think it. We've talked about this so much, but you should be in it for the love of the game, because the money probably isn't there for you. But I think that playing at the highest level you can play at is a good goal to have. And whether that's college or, USL or, just playing amateur soccer at a high level, I think that's a good goal. And then from there, you don't, like, you get to 20, you're not professional yet. You don't have to give up, because you can play at a higher level, even if it's not professional. You get to 25. If you still love the game and you still want to play, I think you should still play, even if you're not, even if you're not going to end up playing professionally. I think that, obviously if you love the game, you should play it. Anything else we have to say on, that kind of perspective?
Thing, which is a big stereotype in going pro in like soccer, is that you can go pro at any age. Like, the cutoff is not 18 years old, which is what I have seen from my experience. Obviously, as you get older, it does become harder, but you can go pro at 25, at 26, at 27, at 28.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
so many examples, right? Like, didn't Drogba not have his debut until 26
in his
or
20s?
something?
Yeah. And I mean, Vardy obviously is the super obvious one. And like, I just think, like, look at someone like I know obviously this is kind of a different perspective on it, but look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, who's playing it, obviously let's forget about yesterday. But he's playing.
Let's not forget about yesterday. That was a great.
Actually, he scored a good goal. That was a good goal.
I thought that was a legal goal as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, like, maybe it was slightly offsides, like it was just there or thereabouts, but like, obviously they didn't like stop play. Like, the defenders were defending him and he still did that. Like, and he's been solid at Manchester United. He's been great. He's 36. I had every reason
to want it not to count, and it was good.
Yeah, true. He's 36. Like, how old is Zlatan? Like, how old are
40.
These players?
He's 40. He's 40.
Yeah, like, people, like, there are athletes who are playing, well into their 30s. There's that Japanese guy who's playing in like the Japanese league who's like 50 something, 50 or something. Like,
he's a savage.
Yeah, like, savage. There's no reason that obviously it gets harder as you get older, and life probably gets in the way. Like, maybe you have a family, you have a full-time job, like all of this stuff. But if you can keep playing, there's no reason that you can't go from playing, amateur at 25 to playing semi-professional later in your 20s and, sustain that for 10 years. There's no reason why that couldn't happen. And as I said, if you have the goal of just playing at the highest level you can, you don't ever have to give up. You can keep going and just have that as your goal. And, it just kind of takes the pressure off a little bit too.
And yes, just wanted to add on that, because at the lower level professionals, there oftentimes are a bunch of veteran players who are in their 30s or mid 30s that have bounced around several different teams in the league, and the coaches, keep bringing them back. So, like, it's not easy, obviously, and you have to have the talent, and you also have to work to stay in shape. But, like, yeah, there's several guys who are in their 35s or even early 40s, especially in the lower divisions, playing some sort of professional still to this day. Not all of them are young guns like SK.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to start with this, but we kind of just like dove right in. So obviously, who are we to give anyone advice on this stuff? So we can just like talk, like, very, very briefly touch on, like what we did. So I played for an academy in Greece, and I played up to third division in Greece for a little while, played very briefly. at a Division I school in college in the States, and then I went over to England and played in some lower leagues there. Obviously, I had a couple injuries, ended up moving back to the States, and I've played in some amateur on some amateur teams here in the States at a decent level. And I'm playing again after my most recent injury. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I'm 27, and like I haven't given up on playing yet. I still want to play at a high level and compete every week. That's my goal. So if we can kind of like touch on what the rest of us are doing / have done. Yeah.
Okay. So I was also playing in an academy in Greece. I was with the national team for a bit, U15, U6 team of Greece. I played over academy in the States for like a year and a half, Seacoast United. And then I went to England. I had some trials with Stoke City and then a couple other teams over there, like second, third, fourth division. Played some non-league. Moved over to Spain and signed professionally with a third division team and then 2 fourth division teams. And this year is my first year actually not playing. I'm just studying this year and sort of seeing what happens and seeing where I'm at maybe by Christmas time.
What are you studying, by the way? Just curious to know.
Just English major
okay.
at uni.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
English major in Spain.
You know it.
Everyone asks
someone's
you
got to
for
do
help.
it.
Everyone's asking you for help now.
Yeah, he is a tutor, right?
I am. This is true. Writing center, baby.
Noblet, do you want to go or should I go?
I'll go.
Okay.
So
No, you won't.
I'll consider it my adult playing career. I first, right out of high school, I went to a NAIA college for 2 years. And then after that, I basically started just going to regular college, but I kept wanting to play. So like I tried, so I sent emails and stuff to all sorts of lower level professional
We've
or
all been there.
semi-pro teams. I ended up also doing several different freestyle soccer tours, like with Burger King, and did commercials with several other groups. And then I managed to get a tryout with a professional arena soccer league team, Louisville Lightning. And I ended up making the reserves. And then I was with the reserves for like a few games. I managed to impress the coach for the Detroit Waza, who was in the first division. And I went up there and yeah, yeah, the name's kind of funny, but I went up there and got to train with them, and I got put into a US Open Cup match, and I scored 2 goals on my debut. So they ended up keeping me on. And so I played with them for about 2 years, and yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
All right, so my resume isn't as good as you guys, obviously. I played for the last 4 years, I think, or 3 years, I played at FC Durham, which is like the second best ranked youth team in Canada from 2019 to 2020. And then from there, COVID came, so I made the move to university. And this university, I think they had 4 players going pro abroad last year. And yeah, that's where I'm currently playing at, and that's where I will be playing at for the next 4 years.
Nice. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So obviously a mix of, different experiences, but, we've all played at a high level, made some money doing it. Probably not SK yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
he'll make more money than all of us combined, probably over the next. Well, maybe not. We'll see. When I make
the podcast is money's coming.
Yeah, true. Yeah, when I sign my next professional contract at the ripe old age of 42. So yeah, we'll
go go sign up on Christo's Patreon, everyone who's listening, so that we can afford some food for this week, Otherwise we're all gonna starve.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about how it's kind of in the same vein that we were talking about before, but a lot of people think that you take giant leaps forward every year. And it's really not like that. The path to pro it's a lot of small steps. You play at a good youth team. You find an adult team to play for that's amateur. You play semi-professionally. Like, you're not going pro, right out of, some players do take giant leaps, but for most of us, it's going to be really, really small steps. Sometimes you'll even take steps backwards. I know I have with injuries and stuff like that. So, I think it's very important to, like I said, again, not have unrealistic expectations, and, stay the course, stay consistent, and take those small steps, because over years and years, you can get there, but it's not going to happen in a year. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be playing for Real Madrid tomorrow. It takes a long time and a lot of hard work, and you got to put those years in, and pay your dues, no matter how good a player you are.
Very true.
I think what I was thinking about it is that for me, the planning of going pro is actually pretty simple, right? In its most basic terms, you just play for a team, you go in the starting 11, you become the best player in that team, and then you move on to another team, and then you keep doing that until you're pro. I mean, there's obviously setbacks and challenges. Like Coach Christo said, you might be going back and forth between injuries and stuff. But I think the main part where players get confused is mainly the execution of going pro, like becoming the best player in your team and then going to another team.
Yeah, and like getting frustrated because you're not there yet. When, like, if you're not the best player on your amateur team, or if you're not the best player on your youth team, or your amateur team, semi-professional team, like, of course, the teams in the league above you are looking for the best players from the teams underneath them. It's not like necessarily that you have to be the best player to start thinking about moving up, but you probably have to be in the starting 11. Probably have to be one of the stronger players. You probably need to have more than like 3 or 4 good games. You probably need to have a consistent season before someone's, looking to take you. So, it's not, it really is exactly like SK said. Like, you play for a team, become the best, play for another team, become the best, and move your way up slowly.
Yeah, and even that can be a very nonlinear progress for many players. I mean, I think we've all had the experience of being on a team where we just didn't fit into the coach's plans, even if we felt we were one of the best, if not the best players on the team. And you have to be patient, and you have to find, even when you're beginning in that lower level, amateur level, an amateur team that works for you and will allow you to actually be able to get minutes, to be able to show what you're capable of doing. So you have that chance of standing out to someone at a higher level where you can potentially play at the professional level.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I've been on like good teams where where it wasn't quite clicking, and had to, drop down a division to play for another team, to play for a coach who believed in me, who would, give me a chance. And then, done really, really well at that level. Like, I don't think, being the higher the division you're playing in, it doesn't mean it's necessarily a better situation for you, especially when you're a younger player. Obviously, money can come into it when you're a little bit older. But when you're a younger player, always take the better opportunity. Like, I would much rather, obviously, you have to kind of bet on yourself, and even like take the opportunity to play for a team that, will support you rather than, taking the higher division, more prestige, or even more money, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't just, sprint your way to the top, because it's going to take years. You have to be careful with the steps you take, even if they are small steps, I wanted to touch on this because I kind of brought it up before about like, being the best player on your team, and then like waiting to get seen by somebody. Don't do that. Obviously, be the best player on your team, but don't wait for someone to see you. Noblet talked about sending out emails. You need to have a resume, a highlight video, and you need to be reaching out to teams all the time, pretty much. If going pro is your goal, even if you have a team and you're happy at that team, you should be looking. You should be seeing if there are better options out there, and updating your resume and your highlight video while you go.
And I would say that this even goes for people that are trying to go the college route too, because I was sending out emails to coaches when I was 15 years old, and I sent emails out from everything from the NAIA, D3, D2, D1, every single one of them. Now, one of the cool things is NAIA and D2 teams will actually let you go train with them. So that's how I actually ended up on the college team.
That's
playing for was that the coach just said, okay, come train with us. And then I played well with the team as a 16-year-old. So I ended up basically being committed before I even started my senior year of high school. And that's the only real way that you can approach trying to find a team, unless you're literally just a standout on one of the big college teams or something like that, is you're not getting thrown into the draft unless you're just one of the top guys in NCAA D1. You have to shop for your team yourself and put yourself out there. They're not just going to see you. So you have to make yourself be seen.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like I said, like putting a resume together is super easy, but most players don't have a resume. Like do it as you go. You're not gonna like having to like sit down and think, okay, how many games did I play this year? How many goals did I score? How many times did I start? Like, don't do that. Just do it as you go. Every game you play in, add that game in. Every goal you score, assist, whatever, any stats you can get. For goalkeepers, like clean sheets, even for defenders, clean sheets can be a good thing. You should be tracking this stuff.
I had those on my resume. Yeah.
When were you a defender?
Clean sheets, dude. Center back in Spain.
Oh,
man.
just now in Spain.
Always a center back.
And also contacts from coaches that you've worked with that will give you a good recommendation. I mean, that worked a lot for me, is because I had good coaches who they could call, and some of them would say, yeah, he's a good player, you can sign him. And
you just put
a lot of people overlook that.
You just put the number to Burger King at the very bottom of your thing. Like, call them. I did a commercial.
The king.
Yeah.
The king.
A quick little tip I wanted to add into networking and stuff. I think LinkedIn is a great place to network, especially for college or even pro levels. I actually almost committed to a D2 school. Unfortunately, it was in the US, and because of COVID, it didn't happen. But yeah, for young players, I think LinkedIn could be a great tool to make connections.
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely like my go-to for that kind of stuff. Like I got a lot of trials in the UK through LinkedIn and other social media. Like, it's because LinkedIn is like a professional platform. You can find like the coach for, Macclesfield Town or whatever it is, rather than like trying to like figure out what his name is and search it on like Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And then it's like I know his private, Instagram profile where he doesn't want to like read messages
like all his pictures.
Yeah. Like it's like, it's just not
smiley face.
Yeah. It's not the right it's not the right platform to be reaching out to coaches. I think making a LinkedIn profile, I think you have to be 16 to make a LinkedIn profile, but you probably don't need to worry about this stuff before that anyway. So I think making a LinkedIn profile is really a smart thing to do. Along with, and you can upload your resume there. And then the importance of a highlight video, I think like really can't be overstated. Like coaches want to see you play, and it's not always possible, especially if you're in the States. For colleges, it might be possible, but for if you want to try to go overseas for trials, you need a highlight video. Like, no team is going to take a chance. No, like halfway decent team is going to take a chance on a player without having seen them play, even just in clips. I know clips aren't like, representative of how you play in a full game, but you need to get some decent clips together. And a highlight video is just super important.
And make sure you have a really, really good song in the background, probably like a trending rap song.
And it's really loud.
Oh my God.
Just really loud and lots of swear words.
Yeah.
Just everything. The more the better, honestly.
I will tell you the worst of the worst for highlight videos, because I have a player send me a lot of
highlight videos.
Everybody. So I had someone email me a highlight video, and literally the first like 10 words in the song is on like full blast too. And in the first like 10 words, 5 of them were the N-word. Like, and I was just like, what? Like, I literally messaged him right then. And I said, I will sit through this video, but I am muting it, and another coach will not. So get this song out of here. No words. I don't trust you enough to put words in this song. An instrumental, like upbeat,
smooth jazz.
That's actually what I did for my.
I mean, that's
like,
the stuff.
You could,
that's the stuff.
I think like literally just type in like
Champions League theme. How cool would that be?
Anthem.
Oh, that would be sick, dude.
Instrumental sports background music or something, or like hype music or something on YouTube, and like non-copyrighted or whatever. And you'll find a good song. The other nightmare that I had for a highlight video is player sent me a highlight video. It was like 12 minutes long, which is way too long. But the first 2 minutes, all right, were a penalty that he didn't win, and him stepping up to take the penalty. And he didn't take the penalty until 2 minutes in the video. And I watched, and I was just like, oh my God, man, like 2 minutes, like you've already lost the coach. He's not watching past 30, like 13 seconds of this.
You need your best highlight in the very beginning. So if you like score a bicycle kick, that's the first highlight.
Yeah.
I know that's not how you make a compilation on YouTube, and you save that a little bit more towards the end, but like your highlight video needs to be, if you score some goals or you beat someone spectacularly 1v1, make some great passes, those should be in the first 30 seconds of the video. And then your maybe less impressive plays that needed to make the highlight film, those come later. Like, you can have a 10-minute video, in my opinion. It's just the first 3 minutes need to be fire. And if you can keep it up for 10 minutes, wonderful. But you don't have to, because most of them are only going to watch 3 minutes unless they just think you're incredible and just really, really want to watch it. And
even then, I'd be done at 3 minutes because I don't have time, like, and like a coach who's recruiting players will have even less time than me. Like, they'll watch the first 3 minutes. Oh, okay, he's good. I didn't need to watch the next 7. Like, it's
busy man, huh?
I have this week, maybe next week will be busy for me. Then I think I'll have a little bit of downtime, but not right now.
So in 2 weeks, everybody send Coach Christo all your highlight tapes.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
And I'll watch them all.
Starting with hour-long videos, full game footage.
And just amazing music.
Yeah. And
if you self-perform the music, even better.
Oh, that would be good. Or you could even make it karaoke so the coach can sing along
Oh yeah,
as he
that'd be
watches.
nice.
And like I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can't get highlights. I can't have someone film my games. I don't have a camera. If you have an iPhone, you're fine. Like, you can find someone. You can find one of your parents or a friend or something. You can even pay them like 20
Friends,
bucks
parents.
And if you're
to
even
film.
in a rough patch, film a training session.
Yeah,
because like I actually did that because like I didn't have someone to film for me. I mean, I didn't have any of these things. So I basically set up my camera and I set up everything. And I was like, I'm going to show him I'm the best damn dribbler there is.
Yeah.
And showed that I had the technical abilities. I mean, if you're fast, you can show yourself sprinting and they're going to say, oh, crap, this guy's fast.
Or even give
really
your like 60-yard dash time or something,
like if
right?
you could if you can record your 60 or 40-yard dash, you get your vertical jump and all these things. I mean, it's a little bit more American style, but I mean, let's face it. Like if you got a guy who's fast as lightning and can jump really high, coach is going to be, oh, this guy's like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, and if he can take a touch, then you're set.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't be Usain Bolt, who's one of his teammates described him of having the touch of a trampoline.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. So obviously highlight video and resume, I think those are like a must. And then obviously even more important than this, probably than anything we've said so far, although we kind of mentioned it, is having connections and building connections. Most players get opportunities to trial for professional teams or semi-professional teams or just teams at a higher level through coaches that they've worked for, and occasionally, although obviously less often, players that they've played with. That's what's really going to get you, to the next level. So it's important to build relationships with your coaches where possible, not always possible, but if you can, you should do it. And other coaches as well. And this obviously, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, I was just going to say the last team that I signed for, it was because my friend from the team that I was on previously, we were both going to leave at the end of the year, and he was really good friends with the athletic director of the team that I signed for, and he knew they needed a right back that I was playing at the time. And he was like, I told him all about you. He wants to call you, wants to talk to you. And that's how I signed. So just even with your teammates, with your coaches, with everyone, with the kit man who puts the kit out before the games, the athletic director of the team, everyone plays a big role. So
it's
connections.
Like in any type of job or anything like that, networking is probably one of the most important aspects in how you get a job. I mean, for getting onto a team, that will do far more than, in many times, your even playing ability, which is kind of amazing to think about. But if you have somebody who says, yeah, this is the guy you want, you should sign him, that coach is going to, if you go to like a tryout or a trial or something and say there's like 10 other guys there, the ones that went to that and the coach was told by their contact, watch him, are probably 90% more likely to get picked than the ones that were just there on their own doing and didn't have that contact. So any networking you can, that's much, much better than not doing it.
Yeah. And like, I see a lot of young players, and we talk about like how like having this like the grind mentality is kind of not the way to go. Obviously, you have to work incredibly hard, but like the motto for the podcast, rise at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and grind. But I see, or I played in England for a long time, and before that, I was in Greece, and playing at levels where people would be like, oh, everything is super professional. Everyone is, taking care of themselves, doing this, doing that. But like, on my team in the third division in Greece, when we got promoted to the third division, everyone was taking shots and, smoking cigars in the locker room after the game. And like, you need to be part of that. Like, you don't need, I'm not saying that you need to smoke or you need to drink, but like in England, everyone always goes to the pub after their games, even if you're playing at a decent level. Like, I wasn't playing at the conference level, but a couple steps below that, like, that's what they do. And conference level, I'm sure it's, pretty much the same. And you should go. You need to be a part of your team, right? Like, I would go to the pub and I'd have a soda or I'd have a water because I don't like drinking that much. But you need to be part of your team. You can't kind of isolate yourself and then expect to build connections. You need to have a relationship with your coach. You need to have a relationship with your teammates. If you don't, you're not setting yourself up for success in the same way that you could be.
Yeah, and if I can add on to that, building connections is important, but also keeping them, like I remember like a couple of times I would just hit up my coach and see like what's up with him, how's everything going, because it's good to build connections, but if you don't keep up, but like if you don't check up on them or stuff like that, then you kind of lose them and they kind of forget about you. So I think like keeping those connections and staying up to date with them is very important too.
100%. I had one more thing I want to add, but now I forgot it and I didn't write it down.
Coach Christo, you're letting us all down.
Always be prepared whenever you do things. Have a list of things that you want to do first. Make sure that you're prepared and organized to do it, and follow the example of the really good players like myself, Dimitri, and SK.
True.
I do have a list.
Yeah. So, any other things that you guys have kind of used or thought about?
I actually wanted your opinion on something, all of you, which is going to college even though you want to make it pro. So in my opinion, I think Matt Sheldon said this. I think he said, if you think you need those 4 years to develop as a player to either go abroad or just go pro, I think it's a great choice for you. But yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that.
Actually, that reminded me of what I was going to say, so it's perfect.
Matt Sheldon, get on the podcast and we can have these discussions.
Yeah, sure. True.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Noblet.
So my if you're listening to this in the United States, going to college probably is the best path to professional in America, because that's how most of the pro teams look at players, is through the college game. Then maybe you play in whatever the top amateur league is in the summer, when you can do both because their seasons are opposite of each other. But really in the United States, that's how it works, is you're supposed to play professional for 2, 3, 4 years. And then you go into playing, play college for 2, 3, 4 years. Then you go into playing professional. And that's a very, very different culture than it is in Europe, to where you're trying to look to play for a semi-pro, amateur, or pro team straight out of high school. But I think that you do need to at least consider going that option, because that is where the coaches are looking in America. They're not. My experience is that most of the pro teams that I was trying to get on, if you weren't D1, it was really hard to get a second look, even if you were D1 level. And that was in many ways my situation, because when I was trying to play pro indoor, like, I had friends who were playing Division I college soccer, and I played like pickup with them, and I was easily the same level, better than probably most of them. But one of my friends got drafted in the MLS because he was a D1 player, and where I'm begging for tryouts and trials because I wasn't on a D1 team. So I think it is something that you should do if you're in the United States. If you're outside the United States, you should probably try to get on a lower division team first and work your way up that way.
Yeah, I slightly disagree. And I'll touch on what I was, what SK reminded me of first. I disagree vehemently. Let's get some drama.
Disagree.
All right.
And
So-
kick Noblet out of the Zoom.
First off, and this is something I've talked about before, I think that playing men's soccer is important for younger players. I started playing men's soccer when I was 15, 16. I was playing with 20, 25, 30, 35 year old players. And I had to grow up real quick. In the US, I regularly see players who are 18, 19, 20, 22 who have aspirations to go pro and have never played with players more than like 3 or 4 years older than them. And there are opportunities to play men's soccer, maybe not every week, but even when you're in high school, you can find men's leagues to play for on the weekend. Amateur teams, you're allowed to do it. And I think it's important because the step from going from, playing in like high school where you are like 14 maybe, and if you're really good, you're playing on varsity, you're playing with 18-year-olds. Obviously that like it's a big gap, but it is not even close to what you will experience when you start playing men's soccer and you're playing with 25, 30, 35-year-olds who have been playing for so long and are just so much better than you. It's not comparable, in my opinion. So play with men, even if it's just pickup games. If you can find high level men's or like high level compared to what you are, men's games or training sessions that you can be a part of, I think that is just so beneficial. Now, talking about college is a path to pro. It can be, but in my opinion, it should not be your first option if you really want to play at the highest level that you can. Now, if you want to play in college, often if you can get a decent scholarship, it will be more worth it than the money that you will make going pro. So if you can get a full ride to a US college, that could be worth like $50K a year. You're not making $50K a year playing professionally in your first couple seasons. So that's a kind of a different perspective on it. But like getting a college education is, I know I see people talk like college is pointless, blah, blah, blah. Having a college degree is worth it. It is very important. It helps you make money later on in life, obviously, and it's worth money. And if you can get a full ride that way by playing sports, maybe college soccer is worth it for you. If you want to play, if your number one goal, and you're not willing to compromise on this at all, is to play at the highest level that you can play, I think that when you're 16, 17, that's when you start reaching out, probably not to lower league teams in the United States, because they probably won't, consider you or look at you, although you can and see what happens. But if you can get yourself abroad for trials, reach out to lower division teams in England. England's obviously a good one because there's no language barrier. But even in Germany, Spain, wherever else, because if you have the means to go over there and do some trials, I think that starting to play men in a men's league, even if it's like 8th division in England or 8th division in Germany or something, if you can get that opportunity, I think that will be more worth it than going to college in the States. One, because of what I said, that I think playing with men is very, very important. And then also because the path from the 8th division in England to the 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th division in England is a lot clearer than going from college to playing professionally. Now, obviously, it's not necessarily going to be easier, but I think the path is clearer. And I think that you should do both. You should explore your college options, but you should also make sure that you're reaching out to amateur and semi-professional teams, even professional teams or academies in other countries while you pursue college. It's not that hard. You get the emails, you send the same email pretty much. Reach out to more teams than you need to, more teams than you think you need to. And that should include college teams, but it should also include, probably the most realistic goal would be like semi-professional teams in Europe, maybe, or I don't know, even the United States. That's my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I think the big thing there is your ability to get yourself
Get there,
overseas,
yeah.
which that weeds out a lot of people, including myself
Definitely.
when I was in high school. But yeah, like if you have the opportunity, like I actually agree with Christo, like you're probably have a better chance of making it to a higher level pro by going and playing either semi-pro or top level amateur in another country, because let's face it, a lot of those leagues are even better than D1 college.
Yeah.
And that's where the pro teams in those countries are scouting from. Now, the only reason I mentioned college is because in the United States, we don't have that developed lower division professional. Now, the whole playing with men thing, I played in a men's league my senior year of high school. And I played in multiple men's leagues during the summer while I was playing in college and all these things. So yeah, like play with experienced players, play with players that are better than you if at all possible. And that's how you'll get better.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I understand, like, you know, if you don't have the means to get yourself overseas, obviously it's really tricky. One thing that I that I know a lot of players kind of don't want to hear, but it's like, if you're going to go to college in the States, maybe try going to college in like England or something first, and go to a city where you've contacted a ton of teams and you set up a ton of trials, and try going to college over there for a year, and set up those trials, get on a team, and go to college as well. It's a good way to like figure out getting the means. Not that it's necessarily going to be less expensive, but you know, you're probably paying for college in the States anyway. College in other countries, even as an American citizen, is often not as expensive. And
go to Norway, it's free even for international students.
Even for international students?
Yes, it's free even for international students.
Is it hard to
Everybody
get
moved
into
to
colleges
Norway.
over there, or is it like just
I don't know the process, but I remember it is legitimately free. Now, like
That's-
some of the
that's
Scandinavian
crazy.
countries have it just amazing with education. I mean,
Yeah.
Denmark, you get a stipend to go to college.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm
so you
pretty
get
sure
a little.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get like student loans to go, you know, abroad for college. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, or like in that country, you'd definitely be able to get student loans to go to college and live there and pursue playing professionally at the same time. You know, obviously people don't really, you know, want to be put in that situation, but you're like, if you're having to take student loans out to go to college in the UK, for example, you're probably going to have to do the same thing to go to college in the States, unless you get a huge scholarship. Right. So, you know, it's just something to think about. And that way you can, you know, try it for a year or two, see how it goes. And then if you end up coming back to the States afterwards, you know, at least you were doing something over there. At least you were working towards getting your degree. You weren't just, you know, over there. Also, like the life of someone playing professionally, it's not like you're training 24/7. Like you have time to go to school, even if it's part-time, you definitely have time to go to school.
Sure.
That's what I was doing when I was over here in Spain, and we were trained most days for a couple hours, and I go to the gym most days for like an hour or so, and I was still studying part-time. So if I can do it, then
Yeah, and having something to fall back on is really, really important. We talked about how professional athletes, most of them don't make that much money. Like, I don't think having a plan B detracts from your plan A. And I think that the idea of like going all in, and if you don't make it, you're screwed, is wrong, because not only is it like you're probably going to get screwed, but also I think there's added pressure there. So, you know, if you don't go pro, you're going to be broke and homeless. Like, oh my God, what happens if I mess up? I'm going to be broken homeless. I'm like, what is going, like, I'm so stressed about this. Instead, like, oh, I'm going to school as well. I have something to fall back on, or I have a job. I have something to fall back on. I think, you know, makes that pressure less.
Yeah, I mean, as the man, the myth, the legend, Carlos Alberto, one of the number 5 pickleball champions in all of Spain, has told me, it's important to have a life outside of soccer too, because then, especially if things aren't going well with soccer, everything's going badly in your life, because soccer is everything. But if you have like a good like friends, fan base, you can talk about things other than soccer. You can go do other things, not just play soccer. Then it's a lot smoother of a ride. So
100%. I think that's
words of wisdom.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that for a TikTok.
Carlos
probably.
Alberto, dude.
Yeah, it's I think that pretty much sums it up. Anyone have anything they want to add right here at the end?
I just gotta go work on my application
to yeah. I mean, you obviously it's not easy, but if you're listening to this podcast, we all believe in you, and here to support you as well. You can obviously I'll put our links to our social media in the description. I'm sure we respond to DMs when we can. I know I have 50 unread DMs on my Instagram page, which is super stressful for me. But it is what it is.
49 of them are from me.
True.
Yeah. The other one's mine.
Quick shout out,
just a meme.
If you sub to Patreon, you can watch the podcast 2 days early. Also have Improving Always merch. I'm wearing the tie-dye shirt right now. I just came out with beanies as well. So I did a sample order of those, so I can make sure. Beanies. Yeah, so I can make sure those are good, and then roll those out. Maybe do some giveaways. So yeah, make sure you sub to the YouTube channel. We also, this podcast will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a couple other places.
We're on Spotify and Apple now. That's big time.
We're the real.
I got
deal.
some email that was like, "You are the 50th most watched soccer sports podcast, or most listened to on like, I think it was like Apple or something." I guess like there's like 50 podcasts about it.
Oh, it's like, man, we're climbing.
But
it's the pathway 50. To pro.
I forget what the email was exactly, but it made it sound like super official. I was like, "There's no way this means anything."
We're top 50 in the most popular sport in the world.
49.
All right. Well, yeah, it's been fun. We'll be back next week with another fire topic. And yeah, that's the podcast. Peace.